Look with me at this part. Verse number 18. Christ answers, and he said, I say unto thee, thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. Now notice this last section. Boy, it's powerful. And the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. I've said over and over again that it's important for us to study our Bible. We this morning in our young adult Sunday school class talked about the importance of being close to God so that you know you have fellowship with God. Oftentimes, when there's distance in that relationship, that's when the devil can begin to cause us to doubt our salvation or our relationship with God. So when we study the Bible, it allows us to be more knowledgeable, and that knowledge about our God, about our faith, can build our faith. We have an old lawnmower. Amy and I bought it when we were just newly married, and the first riding lawnmower ever bought, so now it's 15 years old, and been tinkering on it some. Brother Junior and Miss Nancy's not here this morning. Junior's my small engine mechanic, and he's teaching me a little bit, so I've had the opportunity to get this thing up and running. And yesterday, we started it for the first time in several months. The kids have been so excited to mow with it. It's just a little red Craftsman 42-inch lawnmower. And I got it started. It's running rough. And I said, I know that the carburetor's clean because I had the fuel shut off. And I started troubleshooting in my own mind. And I finally come up with it. I said, it's got to be bad gas. It's running, it's functional, but it's not running well. I think it's bad gas. So you guys are going to laugh at me. This is just who I am, all right? I said, so let's just try to mix the gas up in there, because there was some gas that was left in there. So I grabbed it and I'm shaking it. And y'all laugh at me if you want, but guess what? It started running smooth. And they mowed with it for a little bit. I was troubleshooting because of my very limited knowledge of how small engines work. The only thing I can figure is that gas started to separate and the bad gas started to get down to where it was pulling it into the engine. So we mixed it up and we mowed with it for a couple of hours because I had a little bit of knowledge. May I say, when you have knowledge of God's Word and you understand about this relationship we've got with God, man, it helps you to grow in that. It helps you to understand your relationship. This is a supernatural relationship. You're going to have to learn about it because it doesn't always come easy. Have you ever wondered why Christ made this statement to Peter in Matthew 16, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it? We don't find that Christ made that statement to anyone else all throughout His whole ministry. So it's kind of out of character. Now we know that the truth is right. He made an accurate statement. But why did He say it? Well, I brought your attention to a specific place in verse number 13. When He came to the coast of Caesarea Philippi. This morning, I'd like to just share a few thoughts by way of introduction very quickly. Number one, it was at Caesarea Philippi that there stood a large cliff face, this magnificent cliff face. And in that cliff face, there was a deep cave. It looked like a black hole, really, in the cliff face. That deep cave led to a powerful spring that flowed out of that cliff, out of that cave. And that cliff and that cave had been called and was known as the gate of hell. You see, those that believed in pagan religions, ancient pagans, believed that it was that cave that led to the underworld, that it literally was an entrance to hell or an exit from hell. So number one, just by way of introduction, young people, this is not on your Kingdom Chronicle study guide that you've got in front of you. This is just extra. Number one, we're talking about a real cave. A real cave called the Gate of Hell, and it was located in Caesarea Philippi. Number two, not only the real cave, I'd like you to just think with me very quickly about religious crimes. What? Yeah. It was at this cave and the surrounding cliffs where religious crimes took place. Crime in the cloak of religion. You see, as you study this place in the world, you'll find that the cave and the surrounding rock outcroppings were covered with shrines and other religious areas, other religious artifacts that were carved into the rock, and they depict Pan and Zeus and these other false gods. They believed that this was a portal to hell or an access to hell. So as a result, the pagan false worshipers of yesteryear did grossly immoral acts at this place called the gate of hell. When I say grossly immoral acts, I'm going to be very careful this morning because we have young people, but we're talking about not just what would immediately come to mind, like human sacrifice. Well, that's vile. But then also other vile acts with animals. Pan was depicted as a goat. This place was a grotesque place. It was known for its vileness. They would take humans, oftentimes children, and they would throw them into this cave, into this area where the spring would come rushing out. And they believed, Satan had convinced them that if a body disappeared into the water below, then the god Pan must have accepted that offering. However, if only blood surfaced, then the sacrifice must have been rejected. May I say, for whoever was thrown into the cave, neither was a good outcome, right? It's one of the darkest, most spiritually defiled places in ancient Israel. Literally a stronghold for satanic false god worship. This gate of hell. I see a real cave, I see religious crimes, and then quickly, by way of introduction, I see a Redeemer's call. Picture this. Jesus intentionally takes his disciples, the Messiah, intentionally takes his disciples to a place filled with idols and demonic altars, where human sacrifices went on for generations. And he asked them this question: whom do men say that I am? Of course, we find that famous answer from Peter: thou art Christ, the Son of the living God. And against this vile backdrop, against this place that was believed to be a gate of hell, Jesus says this: I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Now, we understand this morning in the year 2025 in a much more civilized culture, right? This Western culture that's now so civilized. We understand they were wrong. This was not a gate to hell. This was a cave with a stream where people died for no reason. Blood was shed for gods that don't even exist. How wicked, how awful. But I find it interesting that Christ made the statement, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. These people, these ancient people, were wrong. This was not a gate of hell. But what if there were, sprinkled throughout the area, what if there were some gates to a place called hell? We have people come from all over the world to walk into the bunkers. I don't even know if you can get into any of the bunkers now. They might have had all of them welded shut. They come from all over the world to get into a bunker, like they're the first person to stand in there and shine their flashlight to see if they can find the Mothman. Maybe this is the one. the door's standing open. And we hear that and we're like, I've been deer hunting and turkey hunting in woods for a while, TJ. I ain't never seen Mothman yet. But if they want to come looking, okay, no trouble. We'll take their tourism dollars. What if there were, sprinkled throughout the area, some gates to a place called hell? Wonder where they'd be located. I wonder what they'd be named. Very quickly this morning, I want to study just maybe a few gates to a place called hell. Number one, I find the gate of procrastination. The gate of procrastination. In our text, Christ said in verse number 18, "And the gates of hell shall not prevail against it," against what Christ was building. But unfortunately, many have entered into an awful place, a terrible place. The Bible says that hell is a place of weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth. I don't tell Miss Amy most things that happen when she's not around the farm. I don't tell her most of those things so that she won't worry about leaving the house. But with our lawnmower, one of the obstacles in order to get that lawnmower up and running is the front tire was off the rim. It was complete, like the seal had been broken. And I was like, I watched a video one time. I know how to fix this. So I went over to the barn and I got a can of starter fluid. Miss Amy's learning this for the first time. And I just heard my mom clear her throat on the back row. She's getting nervous now. She might have watched it all happen from... I had a fire extinguisher with me. Ask the boys. I had a fire extinguisher. That tire was off the rim, and I put a little starter fluid inside the rim, and then I made a trail, and I lit the trail, and whoo, nothing happened. I was like, that's not the way it worked in the video. We must need more starter fluid. Oh, yes. So I said, oh, dear. Oh, yes. Well, I filled the rim up. This time, why waste starter fluid on the trail? We got to get right to business. And I struck the lighter, and most of the hair on that arm's gone. All my, well, not all, about half my eyelashes on this side's gone. You see me after church if you think I'm joking. Later that evening, and by the way, we got the tire fixed. I told you I'm a learning mechanic, okay? Man. I always find that when I share these illustrations, you come up to me with some of the craziest questions afterwards, like, did you get the tire fixed? Not, hey, how's your eyes? Can you see me? Yeah, we got the tire fixed. That evening, I was scrubbing my arm because of the stench of burnt hair. I can't stand it. I had a little fire out in the pasture this weekend, some brush, some sticks by our walnut tree had just kind of gathered up over the year. And I piled it all up and lit it about 4:30 the other morning. My sheep, the fire's going hot. Here come my whole herd of sheep, and they all crowd around it, like poking their heads. I'm like, how dumb are you? Get away. May I say, hell is a real place. The sights of hell, the sounds of hell. Could you imagine people burning to death forever? The sights of hell, the sounds of hell, the smells of hell, burning flesh. I was scrubbing my arm trying to get that nasty smell. And I said, I don't want anybody to go to hell. People say that in today's culture like it's some type of insult. Like it's some type of put down. I don't want anybody to go to hell. But unfortunately, many have passed through this first gate and have found themselves in a place called hell because of the gate of procrastination. This gate leads